Welcome to The One in Discussion. This is our 4th episode, and I am the one, Richard Rutkowski. And today, we are in discussion with Richard Brinkley, my friend, colleague, and mentor. And we will explore the world of Engel Völkers. Richard is a proud father of 2, grandfather to 3, and currently the Senior Vice President of Expansion for Engel Völkers Americas. Or, as I like to call him, Captain Canada. Richard, thanks for joining the discussion. How was your flight in from Toronto today?
Yeah, it was great, uneventful, and I'm always excited to be in Ottawa, and it's great to see you. It's been too long, and so this evening we've got the opening in Ottawa, which should be a lot of fun, and I'm hoping you'll be there as well.
Yeah, they know how to put on a good time. I'm going.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. I'm glad we have an office across the river, and Ottawa and Gatineau virtually being sister cities, and it was significant for us to see the office show up there on the other side of the river, and thank you, Mr. Captain Canada. Richard, I thought today we're taking a little bit different path with the discussion with, and we've been around, or you've been around since 2014.
Yeah, I actually joined the company in New York in 2013, and then it took us about 6 months to get set up in Canada. And so we actually, in March of 2014, started to award franchises across Canada.
And the first one, if I'm not mistaken, is the one you coerced me to go to?
Yeah, exactly. So the first one was in Toronto, and then Calgary and Victoria. And so those 3 opened in 2014.
Well, I know from the earlier days we've come a long, long way under your leadership here in this country.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe for the people that don't know who Engel Völkers is, or Engel Völkers, the way it should be pronounced.
Yeah, well done.
Maybe we'll get a little bit of the history. Where did it come from?
Sure.
How did it start? Who was involved? Maybe you can share a little bit of that with us.
Yep. So, back in 1977, Christian Völkers, together with,
Dirk Engel.
Dirk Engel, yeah. Started the company and, had a vision of preparing a luxury brand that could service the German market in a way that hadn't been done. And because there's no licensing and no structure for European real estate, so to speak, like there is in the Americas, he sat down and the 2 of them put together a game plan of how to do real estate differently. And that was in 1977. Dirk Engel passed away shortly after, and Christian really ran the company up till very recently, and Sven Odia now is our acting CEO in Hamburg. Yep. And then the first office from 1997 to 1990, that's when they first expanded into Spain and decided to start thinking international. And in 2001, they entered South Africa and then started thinking about, the Americas. And, as you know, in 2006 is when they entered the U.S. market, and in 2008 they actually opened shops in Florida, New York, and California. Anthony Hitt became really the CEO for the Americas in 2012. A year later, I joined the company, and as we mentioned, in 2013. And now in Canada, from 2014 to now, we've got 52 offices and several.
Yeah, it was one of my questions later to get a good update what's going on in Canada. Perhaps maybe so. The leadership in New York, you're part of that leadership, obviously running Canada pretty much. What can you tell us about the team in New York?
Yeah, we have a great team. I mean, Anthony Hitt came from, Sotheby's background. He was their top salesperson for several years, and he's just a great public speaker. He left Sotheby's and then began a career as a trainer. And, luckily for us, Richard Völkers reached out to him and was able to hire him to be our CEO. And it really is, the Americas growth is really, a lot to do with Anthony. One of the other neat things we have in New York and for the Americas is Stuart Siegel. And he's another member of, the team. And Stuart had started Sotheby's in Europe and was a good friend of Richard Völkers. And a funny story is, he just happened to be walking down the street in New York and ran into Richard Völkers, and they started talking. And Christian said to him, well, hey, why don't you open our shop in New York? And, I've got this vision of having, business services kind of idea on how can we, work with developers, and then eventually that evolved into development services, which we offered a couple years ago. And so all of those things, but those are key people. And then we have Tom Coons, who also is.
I love Tom. Who doesn't love Tom?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
who doesn't love Tom?
Just a great guy, past CEO of Century 21.
Yep.
He had a brokerage and was number one for Century 21 in the world. So, I mean, a solid foundation of understanding and being able to pass on that knowledge to our franchisees in the Americas. So we have a dream team, really, in
I was lucky enough when I did my licensed partner training that Tom kind of headed up that in New York.
Yep.
Also, I'm very lucky to be part of the development services team.
It's a great
I'm a
great
designee
program.
in that, and Stuart and his team are doing an amazing job with that. We seem to just find our way in a very competent, passionate, exclusive way,
Yes.
which is our core principles,
Yes. Well said.
through the system, and to expand what we believe is important
Yeah.
and where we can give a higher level of service. What do you got on the horizon for Canada? What's coming?
Well, a number of things. I think we're going to probably open next year in New Brunswick. We're going to open in Western Ontario some shops that we're not in those markets right now, from London to Windsor. So I see that happening, and maybe there might be another couple of offices opened in Central Canada. And
Central Canada?
Yeah.
So what are we?
But most of the major markets, I mean, we're already there. We're coast to coast, from Halifax to Victoria, and most major markets in between.
Excellent. Yeah, we're pretty much got it covered, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I know John and Larry have done quite the job in the last 6 years here in Ottawa.
Incredible.
I'm blessed to be working at Engel Völkers, Ottawa Central, due to those two gentlemen. Winning the cup, the Engel Völkers Cup this year.
Well deserved. Yeah.
In regards to many criteria. What was it like at that time? You look back to showing up for that grand opening on Wellington to now. What can you say about these gentlemen? And
John and Larry, it was really interesting. I forget the exact restaurant that we met for lunch, and in talking with them, I knew immediately that they were perfect for the brand, and the brand would be perfect for them. And I would say between the three of us, we knew a partnership was going to happen within probably the first 15 minutes of being together. And it's amazing how things have unfolded over the years.
Excellent. And at the locally too, we recently had another shop open.
Yeah.
So Chris
Yeah.
in Manotick.
Yeah. And Chris just had a baby, which is, kind of exciting.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to Chris, going to be meeting with him. We're discussing a property there this morning out in his neck of the woods.
Yeah.
We have our beautiful video brochure that really does blow people away.
Yeah.
To present properties and to send them across the world to whoever might be interested in a property. Got a lot of this stuff. Our GG magazines, come out in 6 official languages worldwide, can be distributed and delivered to people's doors.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of great marketing material for marketing properties in a very elevated way.
What's your most memorable moment with Engel Völkers? You can give us a serious one if you like, and then you can give us a little bit of fun.
I don't know. That's a tough question because there's been many, memorable moments. So it'd be hard to pin down to just one.
It wasn't watching me in Yorkville trying to explain to people how to say the name.
No, but you always did amaze me, especially in the early days. You were probably in the first 50 agents to join the company, so you were definitely a founding member, and that's why I'm happy to be here with you today. You have a gift for no fear, and let me tell you about Engel Völkers every opportunity he gets. So he did a lot for growing the brand in Ontario, that's for sure. And you're most welcome. Thank you for sending me a GG magazine to Ottawa. So the story goes, I'm sitting in my office, I received this big envelope. Yeah.
And I said, what's this? So I open it up, it's a beautiful magazine. Something like this in there, a nice letter. Trying to get me to be a licensed partner.
Yep.
And I put it aside, and then you followed up, and I remember clearly, I was heading to Toronto. It was a change I was looking for, and my mom, my daughter were all down there. And the day I was going to sign with another brand, that very day, he says, no, Richard said, no. Come and see me and Ron on Avenue Road.
Yeah.
I was sold in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah. No, it was great. That was, that was a lot of fun that day, actually.
Yeah.
It was great.
And it's personally with the brand and your help and your mentorship and Ron and Anita and everybody along the way. For me, my experience has been amazing, but needless to say...
you should talk a little bit about your story because your story is quite amazing. I mean, you started with Engel Völkers in Toronto, and then you were in Cabo, Mexico, working for us, and did a fabulous job down there. And then they were sorry to see you move back to Canada, and then you had some adventures in Oakville, and then. Up here in Ottawa, and you've taken...
And all through that, you always made sure I was okay.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I don't think he came down because of the weather or anything like that. But when I was in Cabo, Richard found it appropriate to make sure he came down and check on me for a couple times. It was a good time. Then I came back and kind of worked with Anita at the shops at Don Mills for a little bit.
Yep.
And we finally, I was able to put a couple of partners together there, and Joanne.
Yeah.
And Scott in Oakville, and we opened that up, and then I left that graciously in their hands and came back to Ottawa.
Yeah, and you built a great business here.
What I love.
Yeah.
So we still don't have any memorable moment or funny moment that's outside of me and you, because we could go to a million of those.
Yeah. Well,
anything catch you? What about Montreal? What about Patrice and Debbie?
Debbie and Patrice have been like beyond our wildest dreams. I met them again, just like Ottawa here, when I met those folks, I knew that they had something special, and I knew that they could really grow the brand, and that was, very exciting. And they've run with it. They've now got several shops across the province. They're opening soon.
How many shops we got now in Canada now, approximately?
Yeah, about 52.
52 shops now, covering the nation.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and around 700 or so agents, advisors.
Excellent. And James and Scott, one of the first, right, in Vancouver?
Yeah, Victoria.
And they came, if I remember correctly, they had transitioned from another brand.
Yes.
And they were one of the first.
Yep.
Who else are we missing out there?
The Carroses in Vancouver, who operate a huge brokerage with 3 locations. We've got Maggie Thornhill.
Right, and Whistler. Yeah, I see her home. What a gorgeous homes. If you go to Maggie's website if you're looking at Whistler for anything, it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
There's nobody else there in Whistler.
Yeah, I mean, our market share in Whistler is incredible. And, we've got a new licensed partner who's, doing some great things in Regina, Saskatchewan.
Did we get, okay, so what are we missing? There's just one province,
well,
right?
we're just
We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, we're just missing Winnipeg, which I would love to be in Winnipeg because my sister and brother-in-law live there, and he's the CEO for Skip the Dishes. So whenever I go there, it's painful that we don't have a location there yet. But
why doesn't he open one?
I'm
not moving to Winnipeg, Rich.
No.
I'm not moving to Winnipeg.
Me neither.
I love you guys.
Yeah.
I love everything.
I try to only look at that market
too.
in the summer. Yeah.
Well, Rich, this interview, you're the fourth in my series. I've had Jackie Holtzman, Larry O'Brien, Jim Durrell, 3 former amazing people from Ottawa, mayors. It's about 55 plus. I do it in conjunction with that magazine. Maybe we'll get a little bit away from Engel Völkers right now. And
sure.
I know for a long time you're a bachelor like I was. Now you're settled. What's your idea of home? What's home to you?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm living the dream. I have a great house on a couple acres on Georgian Bay, and so I look out at the water. I can go kayaking whenever I feel like it, or for a swim in the summer. I love ATV riding. I love being in the country and the fresh air and everything else. Although the odd time I do miss living in Yorkville and being downtown where the action is. But I have a daughter who lives in New York City, and I was just there last weekend, and I go to New York often, so I get a taste of the big city whenever I want it, but I do prefer living in the country the most, so that's home for me.
I visited your house. It's quite beautiful. But I don't know, man. Well, you got to get a helicopter because it's a little bit of a drive. Like if you could send a helicopter and pick me up.
It's worth the drive to Acton.
It's worth the drive to Acton. Oh, that's for us Southern Ontario folk.
Yeah.
By the way, we've got Niagara Falls covered.
Yeah.
Got Nick out in Kitchener, where my daughter's living right now. Let's see, who are we missing here? We got Pickering. Ben
Corbier.
I just saw him a few weeks back.
We're in
who am I missing
City
before somebody says, Rich, you didn't say me?
Well, we...
Who's in King City now?
Yeah.
You see, we're getting too many. You gotta remember them all.
In Barrie we got Jeremy Brooks. We've got Anita owns all of Max Hahn's offices now.
Right, but Max, amazing gentleman.
Max is totally amazing. I love Max. Great guy.
Yeah.
Great business person. And him and Tammy are awesome. And then, of course, in Tremblant, we've got a great team up there that's owned by Intrawest, and so they do great things. Debbie and Patrice own pretty much everything else in Quebec.
Quebec City.
Outaouais. Yep. And so, and then we've got Don and Sebastian, who have 7 offices in Nova Scotia.
Then that's
And
a
they're
story
killing
in
it.
itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
yeah.
remember you calling me and said, Rich, we got these properties in Nova Scotia, but we didn't have a licensed partner there, and they were substantial properties.
Yeah, yeah.
And we couldn't do anything. We couldn't do anything
Yeah.
to help those individuals. But yeah,
We can now.
that
They're
was a
killing
gift.
it.
That was a gift license
Yeah.
to those.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they're amazing people.
they are.
They share their time. They go around. They speak.
Yeah,
They educate. They mentor. It's quite
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah,
Richard, you're 32 now,
yeah.
plus HST, and
Yeah.
what motivates you?
Yeah,
to
I
do
love
that? What
I love
is
building companies, and so and Engel Völkers allows me the luxury of sourcing out the right people, and they're not all about numbers. They're really want quality individuals that want to take care of not only their clients and their salespeople at the highest level. It's all about premium service, and so I'm having fun building the company, and so that's what motivates me.
So you have
Watching
your
it grow.
grandchildren.
Yep.
You have your beautiful partner. You have your kids. What do you do in your spare time?
Yeah,
I see
lots of gardening, swimming, kayaking. I have some crazy ATVs that I love taking around up north.
But what's with the race car? That's more England. I want to know about this race car with your grandson.
Oh, the go-kart.
Yeah, where's this going?
go-karts
We
are
going
fun.
Formula One? We going Formula One in the future?
No, I think my grandson is a little too timid. However, his younger sister is a lot more aggressive, so I could see her being a Formula One racer. She's she's only in kindergarten right now, but she's the aggressive one. So yeah, I could see that. And then I've got a 1-year-old who lives in New York, so who's going to be real tall because his dad's like 6'8".
Oh my gosh!
He's 1 year old and he already comes up to my belly button. At 1 year old, he is a tall
Really?
kid. Yeah, really.
What about words you live by, Mr. Brinkley?
Yeah.
Wait, I got a story.
Go ahead.
Stop. You can't call me Richard. You have to call me Richie because he has priority. So whenever we were out anywhere, I now was Richie.
Yep, there you go. And
So-
that's the only way I think of you as Richard. But,
I know, most of it's
but I'm
funny.
sure everybody else in Ottawa think of you as Richard, so that's great. So what words do I live by? Well, do what you say, and, if you say you're going to do something, make sure you do it. And that's what I live by. So if I give somebody my word that I'm going to do something, then I make sure I deliver and do it. And I think if everybody does that, you'll be successful. So that's the key. And care about people, right?
Right, genuinely.
Yeah.
What do you, one of the things we talk about a lot in the discussion with is social media, the disconnect of the younger generations. We're going to get totally away from you as maybe your comments and your ideas and your thoughts on this stuff. But, we always talk about the lack of knowledge or the lack of individuals out there in the community that are informing the youth, the younger generations, on the threats of socialism and communism. And my previous interviews, all of us gave their opinion on how we, as the seniors, can communicate those dangers and those risks to the younger generations in light of everything that's changing with woke culture and all that kind of stuff. How do you feel out there? How do you see our democracy right now and where we're at and please speak freely, in our political world here in Canada?
Yeah, well, after living in some other countries, I've lived in the US, England, Mexico, Costa Rica. I really appreciate Canada. Canada is an amazing country, a great democracy. Do our politicians always do the right thing? No, but in no country are you going to ever be 100% in agreement with the powers that be. But overall, I think this is an amazing country. Social media is kind of an interesting thing, and it's kind of a double-edged sword in my mind. It can educate people in a very good way, but it can also do a lot of harm. And it's real easy to have fake news and things like that, and twist people's reality. So that kind of concerns me. And I hope that younger people, sit back and think, does this really make sense? And maybe dig a little deeper in what they see in social media to see if it really is real, or is it fake news, or has it been twisted? And, but...
What did Ali, by full disclosure, behind the camera is Ali Hashin. What did Jim say? 98% of social media is fake. Yeah, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, all of them.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
That's where I think the strength of the woke culture and everything and the changing is coming from, is those environments. But like I said, the knowledge of firsthand socialism has not reached our youth. They have no concept. Mm-hmm. Your father, I'm not sure
my father fought in World War II, and
we're in.
Well, I'm English, so I was born in England.
So you fought in English?
Yeah, I was in the Navy. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had that direct connection to understand it and knew what they were fighting about. But now generations and generations have passed, and I just myself personally concerned where we're going to revisit some unfortunate circumstances again because of lack of us really getting out there and explaining it to the youth.
Yeah. Well,
everybody likes money, right? It's easy to give money.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, anyway, it's really unfortunate, what's happening in Europe right now, and I don't know.
And we made it through COVID. The industry changed a little bit.
COVID was an interesting thing that many people have very different views on. The pandemic and how serious was it or it wasn't, and things like that. And it's kind of interesting to hear different people's opinions. But seems like most of it's behind us, so that's a good thing.
Excellent. Well, Rich, I really thank you for taking the time. I know you're flying here, flying there, flying everywhere. I know we're going to head off to Gatineau for the grand opening this afternoon.
Yeah.
And I really, really thank you for taking the time, shedding some light on Engel Völkers, a little bit about yourself personally, and
sure.
And I sincerely thank you for all the time and you've spent with me and helping me in my journey through Engel Völkers. I want to thank everybody who tuned in today. This interview will be airing sometime in November, so I want to say congratulations to the Toronto Blue Jays for winning the World Series. And I look forward to seeing everybody again soon. Thank you and have an amazing day. Bye.